Look, I won't comment about Jacinta. If anyone has an issue with her, I would urge you to take that up with the CLP. That is their decision, not mine. Would I consider running as an independent? It's not something I had ever given any thought to. I can tell you that there are several, some quite large parties chasing my signature, which I have so far resisted the urge. I think I do stand on a very diverse platform, and everyone may not agree with the things I stand up for. I mean, I stand for no mandates. I stand for the oil and gas industry. I stand for the cattle industry. I stand for business. There's a whole pile of things that I will advocate for. So I do think I am extremely diverse and very territory focused. I will always stand up for something that is good for the territory, that is good for economic development, that is good for territory business. As for my future, I am as yet undecided.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, the second question is, can you, Senator, please provide us with any suggestions that would help overturn these mandates on a local level? Is there something specific we can do? Is there something more we can do? Is there anything we may not have considered yet that we should try?
I think everything you've done so far has been fantastic. I would keep the pressure on. That's what I would say, is just keep the pressure on. Be measured and reasonable in what you say. Provide cohesive arguments. Use the media as much as possible, but not by being ranting, raving idiots like Michael Gunner. Use them. Also, continue to lobby your politicians. And just sending endless emails is not a good way to lobby effectively. Try and actually get meetings. Try and go through their offices. And persistence does pay off. If you ring every couple of days for a few weeks, we do get sick of it, and we do eventually go, this person must actually be fed income. They must really, really want to have their say. All right, bloody hell, give them an appointment so they stop ringing me. So it does pay off. Get in there and lobby your politicians, both your local MLAs and your federal politicians as well. So just keep up the pressure, keep up the lobbying, keep up the positive media presence, and keep recruiting people to your cause.
Thank you. And now the last question that I've got here from the audience. Why is the federal government not overriding the NT's mandates? Doesn't the Commonwealth have the power to overturn the NT government, as we are not a state?
The Commonwealth does. It doesn't have the power to intervene in the state laws because we're a territory. Yes, the Commonwealth could come in and overturn our laws. They are reluctant to do so because they did that once 24 years ago, and we've been whinging like hell ever since about, how dare you come in and override us? How dare you come in and impose Canberra's will on the Northern Territory? So given the fact that we've been giving them stick for the last 24 years over doing it, the government is very reluctant to come in and do that again, because the same thing had happened. There'd be those of us that go, yeah, great, but there'd be a whole pile of people that are currently saying the Fed should come in and take over, that as soon as they did, would go, no, bugger off, we're Territorians, you don't tell us what to do. So that is why they are very reluctant to come in here and overturn the territory. However bad the government may be, believe me, that is the last thing that the federal government has the appetite to do at this stage. I'm sorry to tell you that, but it's the truth.
Thank you for being honest with us. Now, I'll throw a question from my end. What is the perception of the specific laws that Michael Gunner has put in place here as the mandates. They go a lot further than any other state. In the Parliament, what is the perception of the validity or the draconian nature of these laws going so far compared to other states that have enacted other mandates?
Yeah, look, and they're not the most draconian and harsh in Australia. They're probably the harshest in the world. I don't know anywhere in the world that has such laws. So they are seen as overreaching. There is a feeling amongst the National Cabinet to not browbeat the states and territories, to try and bring them along for the ride rather than flogging them with a stick. But as I said earlier, there is a growing group of us, led principally by myself and Matt Canavan, who are trying to get more and more pressure to bear on the states and territories, particularly the Northern Territory, and it is seen as completely nuts. It is definitely perceived as completely nuts. It's a matter of convincing the federal government to bring pressure, and at the moment they're trying to do that diplomatically. There's probably other options rather than just charging in and changing our laws. I mean, the territory government gets 80% or more of its funding from the federal government. We could well look at introducing economic sanctions.
Yes, please.
That's one thing that we've suggested. We could also, and this has been discussed extensively, we could also look at limiting their access to the immunisation register.
Yes.
So at the moment they can access that, they know who's vaccinated, who's not, they know what percentage of vaccinations they are. They're using that as a tool to drive their mandates. We could potentially cut off that access to that register, and that would make it much harder for them. So there are tools that we are looking at, and we have had meetings with the Prime Minister's legal advisors to see what we can do that's legally enforceable, that can overturn or at least roll back some of these ridiculous, far overreaching mandates and rules.
Thank you. We've seen that Australia's approach has been very much vaccine only, and there hasn't been much talk on treatments and how to help people when they have COVID or to prepare them for potentially getting COVID. Now with Omicron coming out and being very transmissible, what seems to be the health minister's thinking on treatment options as opposed to focusing purely on vaccination at all costs?
Look, without getting too deep into the medical pros and cons, and I am a veterinary surgeon, so I do have a medical background. In general terms, you are far better preventing a disease than treating it. That's just the fact. You're far better preventing it than you are treating it. Yes, there are treatments, and there are newer treatments coming out almost weekly, so there are going to be more options, but you're still generally better preventing it. There is ways of doing that. Vaccination is one of them. Omicron may be another way. There's early indications that it is highly transmissible, but not very pathogenic. That is, it doesn't seem to create as much of a severe disease as other variants. So it could, and I said it's early days, but it could be if you want, like a natural vaccination. Like back in the old days when you expose kids to measles and things like that. It could be a way that if people get it, they get a little bit sick, they get over it, they get a good immunity. So that's a possibility. It's too early to say yet, but that is a possibility.
Thank you.
And thank you again. I did have to go, and I did go out and make a phone call and said, this is a wonderful audience, and they have some questions they'd like to ask. So sorry, but you're just going to have to wait.
Yeah. We hit the tomatoes and the rotten lettuces out the back. So, well, I don't know that is there any other questions, ladies, that have come through? No, for Dr. McMahon. Well, on that note, then, if there's no other questions specifically for you, Dr. McMahon, I'd like to again thank you on behalf of everyone here for coming along and for offering your words of comfort and support. Obviously, being a business owner and a local Territorian, you've felt the effects directly as well of these mandates, and it's important for everyone here to know that we are not alone, and that there are logical, reasoned thinkers in our Parliament who are standing up for what's right. So thank you again, and we appreciate you coming along. Thank you. So what we'll do now is I'll pass over to Ross to talk about what's been dubbed Operation Crown by the NT Police. So Ross, I'll pass on to you to talk about Operation Crown.